earlier scholars how they do this. So they would say, oh, there's something different in the way the Quran, for example, speaks about Joseph. I mentioned Joseph earlier. So Joseph, Old Testament Joseph, it has his father Jacob from the beginning, like, know that the brothers are plotting against Joseph and even warns him that they're going to plot against him, right? And then they come with a bloody shirt, and he even knows that, the Quran says it's, I think, common translation is there was sham blood on the shirt, right? So these elements of the Joseph story, they're not found in Genesis, where we have the Joseph story. So scholars are like, oh, so we have Genesis, and then we have Quran 12, and we have all these differences. So we need to find something in between Genesis and the Quran. So let's look through Talmud, let's look through Midrash, let's look through the Syriac authors, and we'll try to find sources which explain why you have this unique telling of the Joseph story. And I mean, that works actually very important, the sort of source criticism, but it doesn't really take into consideration the possibility that the Quranic author has his own theology, his own agenda too, that might respond not just to theology, but to sort of like what was going on in his society, like social, cultural, like the development of the community, right? And so that for me, that's at least in 2026, that's like my biggest concern with the traditional way of dealing with biblical material in the Quran. I think we should always keep in mind what is the goal of the Quranic author in telling this biblical story in a certain way.
With that in mind, one of the stories in particular that is obviously central to the Christian story is the story of Mary and Jesus, her
Mhm,
birth, the birth story in Surah 19.
mhm.
What do you think are the Quran's theological motivations for significantly reshaping that story? For example, why is Joseph erased and Mary depicted as giving birth in solitude? Why were those
Yes,
changes made, do you
yes,
think?
yes. Wonderful. Yeah, great. So I feel pretty confident in one part.